Well, we're in Group B, ladies and gentlemen. So, fresh start for the teams that are in the second group. It is a bounty time once again. Now we're looking at DDX against Rospidol, Murky Cup number 2, and we have the bounty system in full swing. Group A was an absolute delight. I think we ended it with some butcher games as well, so it was actually pretty cool. Let's see what the teams here at hand are going to do today. Now, I'm going to go over the format a little bit in case you're not really familiar with all of this. But first of all, we have a rule in the draft that every single hero that gets played within a match, that means within the best of 3 or best of 5, cannot be played again. So after map number 1, the 10 heroes that you saw in the first game cannot be played again in the same series. It limits the hero pool a little bit. It's nothing too crazy, honestly, unless we're hitting best of 5s, best of 7s. But the whole idea is that you just don't have to watch Blaze every single game, or I don't know, like Genji or Hanzo. So there's a little bit more hero diversity coming in. And that's just the first step of what we do with the bounty system that we're using here in the Murky Cup. So the prize pool is actually split. We have 1,000 euros as a normal prize pool for the teams, meaning that the top teams will again battle for those 1,000 euros. But in order to make this a little bit more interesting, we have a second prize pool that is actually crowdfunded. If you're interested to contribute to the tournament directly, and you're watching this on YouTube, for example, you can jump down into the video description. There's going to be a link in there, first of all, to the bracket, also to the bounties, but also to the crowdfunding. So if you want to help out with the effort here and incentivize the teams even more to go in there, then you can do exactly that. So the whole idea is that we have bounties in the game. You can see them right now. It's basically like quests that the teams can go for. So they can on any map decide that they want to, for example, win a game with Butcher. And every single time that they do that, they get one bounty ticket or bounty point, whatever you want to call it. There are a couple of bounties that are a little bit harder to complete than others. Some of them even have a double reward. For example, Twin Blade Variant has a double reward, Butcher has a double reward, and so has Murky. By the way, we already have some like awesome picks here. But the whole idea is that you're completing these bounties, and each team can complete all of these bounties once, and you can complete one bounty per map. And the whole idea with this is that at the end of the tournament, we're looking at how many bounties did a team complete, how many bounties were completed in total, and then depending on how many you got in relation to the entire complete bounty set, you get a share out of that second prize pool. So, long story short, we're incentivizing teams with a second prize pool to actually go and play some heroes that they normally wouldn't go for. This is totally optional, by the way. Meaning that they're not forced into anything. They can do this. They don't have to. If they just say like, hey, we just want to play for the tournament victory, then that's what they're going to do. But of course, the more bounties you complete, the better, the more money you will in the end get. And we have a little bit of a twist also for this particular tournament. We had obviously the same system in the past already. I'm going to talk about this in a second, but I think we're actually pretty quick on the draft here. We get Azmodan on one hand and then Cho'Gall on the other. So we're already on map number 1 of the best of 3 here, in a situation where 2 bounties are being attempted, one from each team. DDX is going for the Azmodan bounty. When they picked Chen, I was actually looking at this and I was like, are they going Chen Lili already? But nope, they're going for Azmodan. They have Jojo too, so Jojo Azmodan, a fantastic duo to help Azmodan stacking very early on so that he can be self-sufficient, self-reliant, and just control wave clears. Well, and here we get Jimmy as our final pick, and that sets us off for game number 1 as Cho'Gall is the champion over on the side of Rospidol. Ladies and gentlemen, map number 1, Tomb of the Spider Queen. Alright, we're gonna have some fun with this series, that's for sure. On the left side, in blue, Shizakid for DDX with Jojo. Jimmy going for stacks actually with Veteran Marksman. Let's see if that works out. Usually when you see Jimmy go for the stacks on level 1, it's a little bit of a... It's a bit of a tricky one because you really need to stack properly. I think the threshold was something between 60 and 70 stacks to do more damage than Ace in the hole when he gets procced. And we have actually a few heroes that would really help Jimmy out to get that damage done. But obviously the main thing for them is really going to be Danazovsky here. Danazovsky on Azmodan is going to be huge for them. He's going to work with Johanna at the beginning of the game to get his stacks up. We have Virgil on Chen, Yoshiro on Anduin, and over on the right side, Rospidol with Makotzel on Cho. We got Itrax on Leoric, Bronic on Gal, Balor on Alexstrasza, and Cesabos is playing Falstad in game number 1 of the best of 3 series. As I already highlighted during the draft, there is a little bit of a twist, something new that we're doing with the bounty system this time. And that manifests itself in teams getting a half point if they attempt a bounty and they fail the bounty. So pretty much all of the bounties are hinging on you winning the game. So if one of these teams will win, will complete a bounty, and they get a full point. After you get a full point with the bounty, you can play the same hero again, but you can't complete the same bounty over and over and over again. We don't want to, you know, trigger some special one trick on a team to just try and win with the same hero time and time again. We really want to have a little bit more diversity and to incentivize the teams to do different things. The story is a little bit different when you fail a bounty. Let's say, for example, that the Azmodan team loses and their Azmodan bounty therefore is failed. They still get a half point, and the interesting thing about that is they can complete that Azmodan bounty or try to complete it as many times as they want. Every single time that they lose with it, they get a half point. But obviously, you can only play hero once within a series, so it's not like you can play him in 3 consecutive maps. And on top of that, you failing a bounty essentially means that you are losing a map, so it's not something that you really want to do. But with us granting them at least a half point, it allows them to take those risks and still get something even if they fail. So it just makes it raises the incentive level for them slightly. Very nice rotational play, by the way, from Johanna and from Azmodan. I pointed this out during the draft already, that with the 2 of them, they can really get a lot of damage done here on those minion waves and help Azmodan to stack quickly. Now down at the bottom of the map, this is where we're now seeing Cho'Gall start to push in, and they nearly got a kill on the Panda. But in the middle, Cho'Gall is now sitting at 64 stacks. We're only 2 minutes into the game. So you can already see that if you have a really nice duo... Oh, that's a kill though. Nice effort on the stacking, but that one was unfortunate. You can see, on the other hand, that you have a huge impact when you stack Azmodan with the help of a second hero like Johanna or anyone else that gets a good wave clear. So this will help Azmodan to have a much higher impact early on in the game, and of course to also control those lanes much more efficiently. Down at the bottom of the map, on the other hand, Fat Illidan jumps in and gets the birdie, Shen with a kill, and now they're moving in for Leo and nearly get him too. Also, talking about getting things, Jimmy is really getting these stacks. 18 stacks already on his level 1. I was pretty worried when I saw them pick Jimmy with a veteran marksman as a level 1 talent. If you remember the Anniversary Cup, the recent tournament before the Murky Cup, we had quite a few Rainer picks, and in some of them veteran marksman was picked, and I don't want to say it was a disaster, but it didn't go all too well. This, on the other hand, is a pretty decent start for Dead Inside. So if he can keep that pace up, then fantastic for him. Talking about keeping up the pace, look at the stacks for Azmodan now. He's sitting at 106. And as I'm never going to be tired to talk about, back in the day, it was Azmodan and Johanna that would make these rotations happen. First it was Blackheart's Bay, where this was kind of pioneered, and then later on we had it also on Tomb of the Spider Queen, as you can see here. So they're basically going for an old school strategy with this. And Azmodan can really do a whole lot of work once that he's fully stacked. Not only does he control those lanes nicely, but he can also get a lot of damage out. And they go for the bird again. The Panda likes his chicken, so he came in, took the birdie out, back into the KFC basket, and that's some nice crispy wings right there. Falstad is gone, now they're going for Leo, and Jimmy is still stacking. Good for him. Level 7 talents are kicking in. Alex Straza is obviously going to try and complete her level 1 quest as quickly as she can to provide some additional mana and also health through regeneration globes. The turn-in for the blue team is available already, and the Web Weavers are going to touch ground soon. They have elite experience already as is, and their damage output at the bottom of the map is pretty solid. I mean, they went through the wall, and they're starting to attack the fort already, and as you can see, Leo isn't really in a position where he can all of a sudden move in here and try to push this one out. He's just way too low. Gets the drain, on the other hand, on Azmodan, but still, he gets lasered hard and he will have to retreat. This is a horrible position for Rospidol to be in. They're going to lose that fort at the bottom of the map 100%, so this is the first one already gone. Azmodan at 145 stacks now. Even Cho'Gall in the middle, struggling here. Falstad is alone at the top. Nice stacks for Jimmy. I gotta say, this is working well for him. Now Jimmy has to be careful of a few things later. He has to be careful that he doesn't get caught by an 2, and he has to be careful that he doesn't get gusted by Falstad into the opponent's team. outside of that, he's in a pretty decent spot here. 32 stacks on his level 1, 20 stacks on his level 4. That's not too shabby. Azmodan is going to boost his damage as the game continues more and more. He's already looking really good here with his baseline. We have now Jimmy as the top damage dealer in the game, sitting on 27,000 by the way. Azmodan has obviously focused a bit more on the wave clear than just trying to go for heroes, as you can see from his hero damage. But that's something that will change as the game continues and the map opens up a little bit more. Down at the bottom of the map. Dead Inside just moves in and starts to get the damage done here. We have Itrax saying hello, but with 25 gems in his hands, he should probably not make a move and instead just play this one out a bit later. Level 10 abilities are in, and they should be able to deny the turn-in for now. Blackpool, I like it. We had Azmodan once in Group A, and back then it was the Demonic Invasion that was played, but now we have the Tide of Sin for Azmodan, so he can play around that and boost the damage a little bit more. It's going to be nice for him to go for the added wave clear and also later on in team fights get a real big damage out against an opponent. 200 stacks, level 1 is already completed, so again Azmodan's build is commencing quite nicely. But with level 10 abilities now ready for Rospidol and their push through the mid lane, this is where things will get interesting also with Leo and his Entomb. And there is the catch. Exactly what I said about earlier. He gets caught and gets pinned down at the bottom of the map. Anduin with a save though, but he has the gas. The problem is that, yeah, there's the cake and there's no chance for Cho'Gall to just get close. They still want to get the kill and Jimmy goes down and there's a few more that are really in trouble. Leo is gone, but so is Jimmy and Joanna. They're going for Anduin and bam, just like that, we have 3 kills for Rospidol. So, that was actually pretty perfect for them. And both of the ults that I highlighted earlier were in play here. First, Entomb held Jimmy into place at the bot lane so that the rest could rotate in. And then Gust was used to just put them all under pressure. And all of a sudden, DDX suffers multiple hero losses and has to retreat here. Which of course translates directly into them losing structures as well. Another Entomb! Dead Inside might be... no, he's still fine. Alright, he makes it. He's sitting at 41 stacks, by the way. I gotta admit, he is going to absolutely kill it on a single target damage later on in the game. He's gonna murder. If he continues down that path, then yes, he will in the late game have an absolute murder damage on single targets. Already working against Falstad here, but of course the main target later on will be Cho'Gall. Azmodan is slowed down slightly. Oh, blessed shield! Yeah, they're trying to get the damage here, but they always got to be careful with that nudge. But once again, Anazovsky. Missed opportunity, by the way. Not sitting... the mount opportunity on Azmodan is a little bit disappointing. There's no carpet here. There's no doubloon. Azmodan is not happy. No whee! As he's just like flying around. But there's the play for Jimmy! No, for Anduin. And he is gone. Anduin is deleted. Yep. I mean, honestly, Anduin, it gets a little bit chaotic, and I really think that the guy is already out of his depth when he's in the puddle. So when there's a chaotic fight like this, then of course he's struggling. Jimmy now dead as well, so they went again for the single target damage dealer, and Falstad was this time the one to take him down. The entire game is flipping a little bit. Rospidol is doing really good damage at this point, and there's the second turn-in for them. So, if Chen now dies, and it certainly looks like he will, he could also lose a couple of gems here. Jojo's trying her best to recover some of them. Anduin with a save, but it's not quite over yet. Cho'Gall went pretty deep for this. There's gonna be more structures that now fall. 100%. And you can see it on the damage output too. Cho'Gall is, at this point, really making it. I mean, we have 39,000 damage for Gall himself. Jimmy, he still has the top damage numbers, but the question is for how much longer. He's sitting at 46,000 and Gall is just catching up rapidly. Azmodan with really nice wave clear, but there's the kill. Azmo goes down. Cho'Gall went deep for this one. And it's a total murder spree from the red team at this point. Again, Falstad trying to go for the gas, gets them into a corner. Cho'Gall is immediately present, tries to come in with the ult. The kick from Chen. When the engage comes, Chen is ready. So yep, nicely done here. Jimmy still good auto attack damage, but he is more and more under pressure with Cho'Gall's dominance here. On level 13, we got to line him up now. So this is going to be pretty important as well, just for the cooldown reduction alone, so he can start keeping people of himself. 41 stacks also on his level 4, so there's another pretty big one. I mean, honestly, this is giving him a very, very nice hit point boost, but it's more about the damage and the big team fights that he can dish out. But you look at the minimap and all of the structures, the outer structures of the blue team are already gone. So after struggling a bit in the early game, Cho'Gall now, I mean, with momentum. 16 talents are ready at this point, so they are starting to not only take a big lead in experience, but they are really making it at this point. I mean, damn. These guys are in more or less full control right now. And you look over to the gems, for example, with all the kills that came in against the blue team, they lost a lot of gems too. They have at this point the same amount of gems than Cho'Gall, and there is still one added objective that the red team had. They already had 2 web weaver waves. So they're working on their 3rd, and they basically have the gem mount here. So right now we have the boss about to be taken. Actually, they are letting this slide. Okay, let the slide completely. Nobody's keeping the aggro up. I think they could have gone for this here. Level 16 was kicking in, but yeah, we're not quite that confident in that moment. Azmodan is nearly fully stacked, by the way, in the baseline. He's nearly there. So yeah, in just a moment he's gonna have that too. But while we're still talking about that, Jimmy is also just working on the attacks here. Gust used again. Light bomb not successful. They're trying to go for the kill in the corner. They're trying to get Alexstrasza. Dragon Queen. Shizakid is moving out, still alive here. Jimmy doing as much damage as he can, but he's so low. Needs to be mega careful here. Just eats the damage, taps the fountain. 56 stacks for him. As I said before, if he can maintain the pace, he is going to be a monster as the game continues. Oh, but first they have to survive that long. And now the turn-in is about to happen again. So here comes the 3rd web weaver wave in just a moment for the red team. Jimmy has now been surpassed in top damage as well by Gal. Gal on 66,000 damage. Jimmy is still with a respectable 63k, but he's falling a bit behind here. Azmodan at least does wonders for the wave clear for them. And yeah, he can do a whole lot. If they make it to 20, that's obviously going to be even better for them. But Danazovsky, at least when it comes to wave control, has a huge impact for them. But they need to somehow stop these pushes that are still going strong from Cho'Gall. So when it comes to game number 1, this is a wild one. Yeah, Molten Block is already in. They're trying to isolate Cho'Gall again. Jimmy just sitting there and firing away. One shot after another, but Shizakid is now in the corner. In trouble. Gets the heal. Falstad. Gust once again with the angle. And doing the best to keep everybody alive as they're going for the Panda again. Chen might be in trouble here. He's trying to get away. Jumps back out. Virgil is gone. And that is 10 additional gems that are also dropped. The attack against the keep at the bottom of the map, but the real pressure comes through the top. Even with Azmodan throwing the big orbs here, this is going to cost them a keep at the top, and they're likely going to lose one at the bottom of the map as well. Cho'Gall, big plays, but Cho'Gall finally dies. Cho'Gall is gone. That was a big one. That was a big kill. But as I said before, they already lost 2 of their keeps, and that is a disaster. An absolute disaster. Jimmy kills Leo, gets a few more stacks for himself. Danazovsky, okay, for a second, a little bit low here, but he survives. That's a nice hit in, but it's not going to be enough. Blessed Shield will be ready in a second, and they actually stopped chasing. Huh. Little bit surprised. I thought that Shizakid would try and land that Blessed Shield to make a play, but after they now killed 3 heroes, they seem to be trying to make a quick play for the boss at the top. Totally understandable. They also have enough for a turn-in, so this game might not be over just yet. They're clearly behind. Significantly behind. But they also have a chance to get some pressure going and maybe make some moves here. Falstad was trying to leverage his global, still attempting to do that. But Chen is keeping all those lanes clear. Here comes level 20. As the boss gets taken. Oh, ho, ho, ho. And Leo, Blessed Shield is out. And Leoki is able to escape. But damn, they had to throw everything on him to keep him alive here. Cho'Gall is coming back in. Jojo, 40 gems! No! Not like this. 40 gems are lost. Jimmy with a big damage against Cho'Gall, but it is not enough to net them a kill. Azmodan is gone as well. Oh boy, just when it seemed like they had a chance here to bring this back, now all of a sudden they're in so much more trouble. Jimmy is gone, and so are the hopes and dreams of DDX in game number 1. This is going to cost them the map for sure. Game number 1 goes to Khaldor, who complete the Cho'Gall bounty in their first game. 5-man team wipe to end map number 1, Tomb of the Spider Queen, and a really nice victory in an intense game for the red team. GG.
Before we head into game number 2, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, so you don't miss out on any future content here on Khaldor TV.
Well, map number 2, Infernal Shrines. Cho'Gall was successful, the red team won, and Azmodan lost. Now, there's one interesting thing also to note about Khaldor today. They are currently playing with a sub. One of their players couldn't make it, so they are playing not with their typical lineup at this point. But apparently their player is going to arrive in just a couple of minutes, so we're going through the draft now. Don't be surprised if the draft abruptly ends on the last pick, because essentially after the draft is completed, the draft gets cancelled out. We're waiting for the player for a few more minutes, and then we're going to go straight into the game. So just as a little bit of a warning already, if the draft already after the last pick just quickly disappears on you. Now, the 10 heroes that have been played on the previous map cannot be played again, so there needs to be a bit of an adjustment on the player side. But obviously with Infernal Shrines you would mostly go also for quite a few different ones, and the question that still remains is, are the teams both going for bounties? Because again, blue team just lost, so they might be in a situation where they're saying, you know what, don't really want to complete any bounties, we are more interested in making sure that we're getting to the third map here. Now, bounty list, as you can see on screen here, if you just want to refresh your memory a little bit. One thing that I need to point out is that, for example, when we're talking about talents, when we're talking about Convection Kel'Thas, you don't actually have to complete the talent here. You can just play Kel'Thas with Convection as you have a level 1 quest, but if you win with that, you complete the bounty. You don't have to actually complete the quest. Also, if, for example, a team decides that they want to go for, let's say, the Abathur full Locust build, and they misclick on a couple of those, then sorry, but the bounty does also not count as completed. As always, if you have any questions around these bounties, any nuance that you're not quite sure what happens with it, please post a comment and let me know, because, again, there are sometimes a few questions, and I'm happy to answer all of those. If you watch this on YouTube right now, then make sure you check it out there. Also, if you watch on YouTube, make sure that you hit that like button. Seriously, I get more and more comments every time that I mention this, that I talk about people liking it, where YouTube recommends Heroes of the Storm esports videos to people that in the past were interested in Heroes, and they are like, oh my god, this game still exists, and actually start playing again. Just today I had another person on YouTube comment on this, so if you're interested to try and spread the games a little bit more and see if we can get more people into the scene again, then hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do that, but liking the video already helps quite a lot, so again, you can help to try and increase the player base a little bit more here. Now, with our second map, let's see what exactly we're gonna get here. Blaze as the first pick. We have now ETC Dehaka on the other side for Khaldor. Nobody really making any obvious adventures into bounty territory yet. I mean, we could see some of the side laners, I suppose, that will be taken. Like a third melee that comes in. Don't really see any kind of like triple healer come in here. I mean, I think actually now that I put some thought into it, most of the triple healer compositions were played on Battlefield of Eternity. I actually think that's correct. We had one completed in this tournament, Group A, and in previous tournaments with the bounty system, I think it was mostly also Battlefield of Eternity where the triple healer was played. So, again, we'll see. Diablo gets banned, so they're targeting some of the frontline heroes that could still be taken here. Lucio, so far, helps them with quick rotations. I mean, again, they could also, when it comes to immortal damage, still go for Hanzo. You have Greymane up, Bala is still available. plenty heroes to choose from if they're trying to look for immortal damage, and then I'm thinking about, like, why would you go for immortal damage? Because this is Infernal Shrines. Khaldor, you're an idiot. So what are you talking about? I know I mentioned Battlefield of Eternity a second ago, but that was a very different context. So my brain jumped from, which bounties could they go for? Triple healer, but triple healer is better on BOE. Oh, this is BOE. Well, no, it isn't. They still chose Vala anyways. So again, at the end of the day, even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Now, build for Vala, that's going to be interesting. I would love to see something along the lines of a multi-shot build, but it's most likely going to be an auto attack. Zagara. Zagara with Nidus, very likely going to be the attempt for Rospiedol. And Medivh as the final pick. Map number 2, Infernal Shrines. And, well, over on the left side, auto attack Vala for DDX, played by Danazovsky. We technically have our double support. We got Dead Inside on Medivh for the extra protection, and then Yoshiro on Lucio. Shizakid on Garrosh. We got Virgil on Blaze to round out the draft for the blue team. And on the right side of the map, Rospiedol now with Ether instead of Itrax. Again, Itrax was subbing in for them. Ether now jumping in game number 2. Their actual player, we got Markotzel on ETC, Bronek on Hanzo, Balo on Brightwing, and Cesabos is playing Zagara. So this could now very quickly, and I mean level 1 talent, they're going into Infest here. I think Zagara is going to side lane a lot and just going to play a little bit of Rat Dota the entire time. Nidus is very likely going to be the name of the game. So I'm going to keep an eye on the level 10 talents. Nothing on the blue team that would indicate that they have a bounty opportunity here. They really... Oh, but they have a kill opportunity and they take it. Yeah, Hanzo just laubert. He is gone before the 1 minute mark. Nice one. But as I said during the draft, they just looked at this and they were like, well, how about we don't go for a bounty? Bounties at the end of the day are handicaps. I mean, we literally have to pay money or incentivize teams with money to play some of these heroes. So it's a handicap that you accept because you make a risk-reward calculation and you decide, okay, this is something that we feel we can still get away with. But the blue team, now that I don't want to say a tournament lives on the line, that would be exaggerating things, but the blue team obviously is a bit worried that they're dropping down into the losers bracket here. So they're just saying like, no, how about we just go full on meta build, no bounties, and just win map number 2. And so far it's not looking too bad for them. They took out Hanzo earlier, now they just killed Zagara. That's 2 kills to 0 already, so that's not too shabby. The portal plays from Medivh are solid here. This is actually one of the general things. If you have a good Medivh player on your team, it's brutal. Just like the aggression that you can show by portaling on top of opponents, just rotating over them, is awesome. And then of course always that added layer of defense when that shield comes out. Now they're trying to go for ETC, who makes it out of the fight, but they could lose that camp. Vala has already taken, or was about to take the one at the bottom of the map, but now they're invading the opponent and trying to get away with this one. Zagara isn't here yet. She's actually getting value in the middle, attacking the wall, but the blue team claims the Khazra camp. But Zagara has done work here. Zagara is now moving in and is starting to take structures out, and this is something that we're going to see a lot during this game, that Zagara will just attempt to play the side lane. She went back to university, got her PhD in PvE, and is trying to showcase that now and just show off a little bit. So yeah, she's gonna come in and do as much damage as she possibly can. Infest on level 1. So if she gets Nidus and then just moves around on the map and the blue team isn't ready for it, she can always pressure structures. And let's not forget that outside of Zagara, we also have the Haka on the team. So you essentially have 2 globals once that she picks Nidus that would help them to push here. For the blue team, that obviously matters. They have to react to it, but their goal is to just win team fights, win objectives, and then play it out that way. Push, pressure, and make sure that the opponent never really gets into a position where they can get enough value out of those 2 globals. In addition to that, you have Medivh, so if you can portal on top of them, then hey, even better. 17 stacks for Vala. Definitely not enough to write home about. Mommy and Daddy are not going to be proud here. 3.5 minutes in, there weren't a lot of opportunities for Valla to stack properly, but that's still a little bit poor. That's basically the same numbers that we're seeing on Medivh and his baseline with the 13 that he currently has. And while the blue team is trying to go for the objective, again the walls are getting attacked, and that's already a wall and a tower gone. And Zagara isn't even here. Zagara is at the bottom of the map. She's dealing with Blaze. Blaze is rotating between mid lane and the bot lane. Now even the Haka is helping out. And ETC going into Echo Paddle. We could see him with Stage Dive, I suppose. We could see him with Stage Dive if they really just want to play around the opponent the entire game. Then they could do that. It would be kind of funny, by the way, if we go to level 20 and all of a sudden we're getting Hanzo with play of the game. Then you have a global or a pseudo-global on every single hero on the red team. Not so sure if that would be viable. It would certainly be funny, though. Shield and Portal is already coming out. Top side, this is where we have the Punisher. That's going to be baited over quickly and easily dealt with from the looks of it. So, structurally, DDX is thus far not doing a whole lot. Not a lot of value. But they won the objective, they got a few kills. We now have the Vicious Acid, by the way, for Zagara. So, giving her a little bit more utility with the slow. Spread with a creep, I mean, again, it's nothing insane, but we still have a few creep tumors up on the map that haven't been dealt with yet. Team will eventually have to try and make a play. Oh ho ho! And Lucio gets wrecked. Yep, Lucio is gone. That portal was a little bit too late for him. And I still have to point out that we have multiple structures that have now fallen on the blue team side. No forts, but you take a tower out here, a gate there, and all of a sudden you're getting a bit ahead. So now they're trying to go for Blaze, who gets saved by Garrosh. But while this plays, we have at the top Zagara with interest again making her moves. And this is exactly the problem. At the bottom of the map, Hanzo is still able to get Garrosh, by the way, who got killed right there. So first they pin them down at the bot lane with that attack, where everybody has to try and help out to keep the heroes alive. That allows Zagara at the top to push, and then bam, there's the kill. And now we have 2 kills to 2 and early level 10 for Rospedal. Nidus, as expected, gets locked in immediately, so officially now bounty is being attempted. Says the boss has to try and get some Nidus into play. One of the cool things about this is obviously also that you then have essentially a fountain wherever you place the Nidus down, so all of a sudden you're in a position where you can say like, hey, I'm just gonna spend all my mana, come back in here, top it back off, and then I'm gonna be back on the lane. Medivh with 20 stacks, so he's working that too. When it comes to damage output, we have Hanzo with 15,000. I mean, he's double. Lucio's the top damage dealer for the blue team. Lucio with his little hit and run shenanigans the entire time is the top damage dealer currently for DDX. Valla comes in with 3,000. What? Valla is the lowest hero damage on the entire team. Danazovsky, what's going on here? Dude, you gotta wake up. Somebody needs to buy him a coffee. 2 coffees. Get him, like, whatever it is, a couple of energy drinks. Danazovsky is not joining the fun. Ah, there's the party. Gets immediately interrupted. The ley line and Shizakid is about to head out. Blaze is not here, by the way. Blaze is not here. The arrow. Boom! Let's go, baby. Triple connect. Zagara with 54,000 siege damage. So, yeah, she is doing work. And is still pressuring here. But it's kind of hilarious. Valla is still the lowest damage on the blue team side. And this has to change. I was talking earlier a bit about the stacks that she has. But this is getting slightly ridiculous. Now we're sitting at 27 stacks. Medivh is at 30 on the baseline. So that next shrine that is now spawning, this could be the moment where he is able to complete it. Now down here we got one Nidus network, then we have another one that was previously up at the top that was already taken out. Zagara can probably go for that again, yeah, in a couple of seconds. So they can still spread the love here and get Zagara into a good spot. But now they're also getting hero kills in. Uh-oh. Medivh! No! 34 stacks! He gets out with less than 100 hit points and moves away. 36 stacks and he nearly died. That would have been an absolute disaster. Total disaster for him. So now the top fort is likely gonna fall. Blue team again wants to go for the objective, but the problem is still the same. While you're going for an objective that you then try to use to take structures down, your opponent eliminates those structures directly. And they're not stopping at the fort. They're not even going here. We have the attack still coming, and Hanzo is trying to get a kill again against, oh my god, Garrosh, who barely is able to get out. Big arrow, by the way. Oof. Yep. Duck if you live in Miami, because that arrow is on his way. Florida, be careful. Garrosh, on the other hand, dodged it, so good for him. But Zagara now active in the middle, and they are trying to get that objective after all. Rospedol is now in full control of the shrine and is doing their best here. Now the blue team should be able to lock this one in. 39 stacks for Medivh. One more, and he has it. And yeah, there it is. Completed quest and a kill against the Haka. So they get the objective, and now it becomes a bit of a race. DDX need to use that Punisher now to get some structures destroyed, ideally the entire fort here, and since they have the numbers advantage as well, it seems like they will be able to pull this off. Now, while they are going hunting heroes at the bottom of the map, Zagara is now sitting up at the top, and is running heavily out of mana here, so it's not even trying, well, actually he's still trying to push a little bit. Okay, there's a bit available, he's using that to start taking down that wall. There's some damage, but the problem at the bottom of the map is that the blue team is now all of a sudden reaping their rewards here. They're setting the portals up behind the wall. Put Garrosh into a position. This is just a dirty combo just in general. Medivh and Garrosh, it is so insane when played correctly. And they're now trying to do exactly that here. Down at the bot lane, looking for targets time and time again. The wall is about to fall. Big arrow, but it misses. Alright, now if you're in Mexico, you need to be a little bit careful. Feet up if you're sitting on your PC, because that one's flying low. 15 versus 15 is what we have now. But, yeah. Damage output. Vala with 13,000. You're gonna get there, girl. You're gonna get there. 19. What was that? Somebody just fat fingered. Okay, that one went wrong. Nope. Markotzler did not catch anybody with that ult. Yeah. But what about Zagara now? Zagara is... Oh, they're isolating Garrosh again, or at least they're trying. Zagara is still sitting tight here. Danazovsky. I mean, the good news for Danazovsky is that once he hits level 16, he still has all of his auto attack speed. This is something that we have obviously talked about in the past a whole lot. If you don't die with Vala, if you don't greed for stacks, you still get a lot of synergy with that level 16 talent. And yeah, so he can still do a lot of damage once he has 16, which is now the case. And he has also the first quest reward on level 1. So Vala can still churn out tons and tons of damage with this. It's not like we need her in the early game to get a massive amount of stacks. I mean, if you can, fantastic. But if you don't really have a proper double healer behind you and just one healer plus Medivh, you can play this a little bit safer. This is totally fine. So you don't have to all of a sudden start inting for attacks. Just having that attack speed plus level 16 Manticore is great. And that's exactly where we are right now. So the red team's heroes, they still have to be very, very careful when Vala takes aim. Zagara is again using the Nidus as best as she can. Has to be a bit careful before she can place the next one, and I think she's actually, yeah, okay, hearthing back, because if not, she would have been dead here. For sure. Close call, as is. But it forced the blue team back again. And this is something that they're actually doing the entire time right now. They are always forcing the blue team to react. They have so many globals here that they can force DDX just jump between the top, the bot lane, and every single time that the blue team is trying to push a little bit, they're instantly met by somebody making moves. And that's why they're using a ley line, like we just saw here. There's a taunt too, they want to have at least a kill out of this. Arrow from Hanzo got unleashed again. Ah, but ETC still falls. The whole idea behind ETC is also to create some space and try and escape here. That didn't really work for them. Ether is now moving back out. Good there too. Zagara pressuring in the middle and is doing okay with this. Went into the Mutalisk. So we have the Mutalisk for now and the Hydralisk Transfusion. again, adjustments to the build given what Zagara is trying to do here. This is not team fight, side lane Zagara. This is really just trying to push the entire time, control the side lanes, not even go for the objective most of the time. I think eventually we're going to see some 5 versus 5 fights, but the real big idea is obviously you want to utilize, you want to leverage that Nidus network and ensure that you're getting damage in all across the map. The problem for the red team is simply that now that we are heading into the late mid-game and slowly towards level 20, these Punishers are going to hit harder. They're going to do a lot more damage. So if you cannot counterplay and get lane damage, structure damage yourself, you're going to start suffering the consequences. And that is going to be difficult for them. Cesabos is currently, again, just like trying to go down to the bot lane, I would assume, but they have already given up on the Mortar Punisher. Blaze is getting portaled over again. They need to cover their bases. They know that the big risk is, of course, the globals that are being played here. So that's the huge issue. Vision on the map is now everything. I feel the pick into Medivh is something that really screwed with Rospedal is currently. Because Medivh not only means that they have very good vision through Medivh just like flying around, but at the same time the portals also, plus Lucio of course, allow the blue team to react really quickly to what's happening. Now Zagara just takes down the portal at the bottom of the map, but they're losing more heroes here in the middle. Or are they able to keep everybody alive? Yep, they are. They still need to bait the Punisher over and try and take it out. That's where Hanzo, of course, needs to try and do whatever he can. And Zagara is again trying to get back. Probably going to cancel that because Blaze is in the middle. And yep, does exactly what we expected. Cancels it all. Has another Nidus network that she can also use. Blue team is slowly starting to retreat, but it still allows Zagara to be a bit more aggressive here. Push that minion wave in and then easily half back out. So continuously that side lane pressure play and just being a bit annoying. They're going all in on the macro. But objectives will become more and more powerful as this continues, and this is the big risk here. Now, as it stands, we have 5 kills to 3. Level 20, there is a lead in experience for Rospedal. And now we'll see how they're going to play this out with Zagara in particular. I mean, with level 20, first and foremost, Bullseye, obviously you want to have that additional tool on Hanzo. Doesn't really come as a shock here. So always the first one, you want to have those stuns. Nice, by the way, the jump towards the top camp, stealing that away. And Zagara still with the pack instinct. And now they can aggressively push for that keep, or at least a little bit of damage here. They're not going to get too much done. But yep, there's the fight now that we're having the blue team react to this. Here comes again Medivh, and the ley line connects with Zagara. Medivh is cheating. Vala with a Farflight Quiver now on 20. They're trying to go again for Zac, and Cesabos goes down. Zagara is gone. That's a huge tool that Rospedal was using throughout the entire game gone. With Bright being eliminated, that puts them into a 5 versus 3 situation. So DDX, thanks to the team fight victory, is getting a massive lead. They're taking ETC down too. So this attack at the top, as nice as it was initially, it just lasted too long. They overstayed their welcome, got flanked by another Medivh portal, and now they're losing ground way too quickly. It's going to be the first keep in the game that gets destroyed. DDX is on their way to a potential victory here. They themselves lose at the top lane, by the way. Hit points on the keep, but obviously the idea is to end the game right now and go for the core, which is exactly what the blue team is doing. Can they defend? Core is slowly falling. Hanzo and Dehaka are the only survivors here. And, well, scratch that. Hanzo is dead too. That's the final nail in the coffin. We're going to game number 3 on this one. The Zagara bounty fails, and DDX is able to clench out a victory in game number 2 and force the 3rd map in the series. GG. Well played. Game number 3! Alright, this is actually an interesting one, because we're going to Towers of Doom. They actually called Garden of Terror, so I was a little bit surprised heading into the draft. I was like, wait a second, that's not Garden of Terror. So they picked Towers of Doom, but yeah, the initial map that was called by the teams was Garden of Terror. So I assume there was a misclick somewhere, and then they corrected it since the draft wasn't cancelled and they're happily drafting. Now, we are in game number 3. The winner of this moves on to the next round of the winner's bracket. Duh. And the loser drops down into the lower bracket of Group B, which obviously immediately begs the question, are the teams going for bounties right now? On the last map, the blue team decided that they don't want to go for a bounty, they want to play a meta game so that they can force game number 3. The bounty attempt of Khaldor failed, so they got a half point for that, but obviously they are now forced into the third map. What are the teams going to do now? Are we going to see any bounties? Are we going to see 2? Is only one team brave enough to try and use a bounty here? Or how is this going to play out? Now, as a side note, this is now the third map, which means that we had 2 maps so far. 20 heroes were played, so 20 heroes are unavailable and cannot be picked again. And yeah, I'm curious. I want to see what specifically the red team is going to do now. They were the ones that picked the bounty in every single game so far. Are they going to try and do something along those sides again? A lot of the globals are already gone. Some of the best side laners are obviously gone too. Side laners that you would normally pick on Towers of Doom as well. So we're looking at a Junkrat first pick for Khaldor, for the Polish team. And for DDX, well, bring it. The Vikings! Alright, Vikings and Stitches. Unfortunately, Alexstrasza was already played in game number 1, or we could potentially have seen a Stitches and Alexstrasza combo. But with the Vikings locked in, if they want to go for a bounty, they can go for Longboat here. We had a Longboat attempt once, more or less. The team wanted to play Longboat, and then they forgot to pick Longboat. And instead picked play again, so that obviously didn't count. But with Khaldor locking in Illidan immediately after that, again, obviously means that we're now going to get Hunt. So both teams seem like they're going to go for a bounty here. DDX, and I guess also Khaldor could still make decisions around level 10 where they're deviating away from that and just going into normal picks. But I would assume that we're going to get bounty attempts from both of them. Imperius, he was banned in Group A because there was a bug with his level 20 that got hotfixed. So now Imperius can also be played again if during the games in Group A you were asking yourself, hey, why the hell is Imperius not appearing? That was the reason why. I think for most people that was already quite obvious. But just on a side note, that Imperius is now available for games. Abathar banned. Now Illidan plus Abathar, that would have been a really nice tool to have for Khaldor, so that's why the ban came in immediately. We have Virgil with Thrall now for the blue team. But still, when we're talking about their opponents, about Khaldor, they still need their healer, and also they need to decide which role they want to have Imperius in. I mean, again, it kind of stands to reason that we're going to get an actual 3 melee frontline from them. But no, they're actually going Imperius main tank, and they're picking Sylvanas in addition to Junkrat for the range damage. So we have Imperius and Illidan at the front, and then Stukov for the heals behind it. So there's a couple of combos with Imperius that he can unleash here, but they're also a bit on the squishy side when it comes to just like the front line power that they have, to like the meat shield. If you compare that to Stitches, Thrall, and then a couple of Vikings jumping in every now and then. Now, final pick for the blue team here on our final map of the series, and it's Bambi. We get Lunara, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 3, Towers of Doom, DDX versus Khaldor. It's the final map in the series. We're going the distance. Shizakid on Stitches for the blue team. We got DDX with Dead Inside on the Vikings. Yoshiro on Lunara. Virgil on Thrall. And we have Danazovsky on Malfurion. And over on the right side of the map, Makotzel with Imperius, Impaling Light on level 1. We got Ether on Illidan, Cesabos on Sylvanas, Bronek on Junkrat, and Balor with Stukov.
Let the battle begin.
Let the games begin. Let's see which team is able to stay in the winner bracket and who drops down into the losers bracket. Stitches kind of mistook the seasons a little bit. It's definitely not Christmas. It is actually quite hot. I am very, very happy that we have air conditioning here in Spain, because it is hot outside. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit crazy, but nice and cozy inside. Okay, so with that, right now we got Stitches definitely dressed the wrong way. We need like beach stitches. Beach stitches would be totally appropriate. But this is just a little bit strange. I'm looking at this guy, and then we have Malfurion just riding next to him. I'm like, guys, I don't really know exactly where you live, but this is getting a little bit ridiculous here. This is a European server, so you have to dress accordingly. There needs to be like a ban or something for any kind of like winter skin whenever you're playing in summer times. It's just too much of a troll. Talking about troll, trolling thunder on level 1 for Thrall. So no ballsy plays around Crash Lightning or anything of the sorts. First pumpkin camps are now up, and with that we're now having a quick move from the red team. Apparently already looking to be aggressive here and potentially steal the opponent's camp away. They're not really sure that's going to work out, but then again, you're playing against the Vikings and they're stealing it off. Yep, there it is. So that's the camp stolen. Nicely done. And that is a little bit of nuisance for DDX. They did most of the work here. Bambi was just jumping around and was just doing her thing. Just hopping the entire time. Hibbity hobbity, get off my property. But, well, they didn't. They invaded and they took the mercenaries. Now, Illidan obviously up at the top is a little bit in trouble here. Just doesn't have the sustain that allows him to take this lane on. That's one of the problems that they have. I mean, later on he will be able to do a bit better, I suppose. But now that Sylvanas is coming in, Illidan is still low. I'm not quite sure what the thought process is here. Illidan is not going to survive that. Or is he? No way! Oh my god! Yeah, talking about clutch. So, Illidan is very happy. Is flexing hard. But that looked to me like it would be a dead Illidan. Look at this. The confidence to just go in there and Thrall not being able to get the kill. I think Thrall still had enough mana for his abilities. They were just in cooldown at this point in time. But damn, that was quite a judgment call there. Or just luck. I mean, one of the two. But that was pretty awesome. So Illidan gets the kill with the help of Sylvanas. Even the Vikings lingering around here couldn't do anything. But for now, we have the altars activating. It's the first objective, obviously. So triple altar phase. Thrall is a little bit salty because not only did he die, but on top of that, he also lost the stacks that he had on his level 4 talents. That's not nice. Yep, Makotzel with a hit on Bambi. Yeah, they're trying to go for a kill here, but not happening. So, Yoshiro is actually working that very well. Sylvanas goes down, taken out by Thrall, but Imperius at least survives. And Illidan is still trying to channel, but the Vikings are just way too annoying. And Aether, he will just have to let that one slide. Maybe he can take Eric out here, but he's not. He is called Eric the Swift for a reason. So shots are fired at the bottom of the map. That means that we now have 2 of the altars fully channeled by the blue team. And finally, with Makotzel helping out at the top right, they're going to get this one. Yep, it was close. Eric also gets destroyed. For a moment, I really thought, wait a second, can they interrupt that again? But nah, they couldn't. So, it's all good for DDX now. They got 2 altars out of the 3. Rospedol still got the 1, so yeah, fine. Now, with the attack coming at the camp again, seems like the red team is ready for another invade, but this time it's not really going their way. They are about to lose Imperius. Malfurion moonfired him, and there's another hook, and oh boy, that's a kill. Yep, the wolf connects, and we say bye-bye.
And we say bye-bye!
Bye-bye!
That's an easy one. That was just, the hook was too good. Then the wolf from the side, Malfurion with the root. There's no kill like overkill. They dropped everything on him and just, yeah, just completely destroyed him. So 3 kills to 2. But more pressure now at the bottom of the map, thanks to the pumpkins as well. Says the boss with Sylvanas is trying to stop it. They're going deep. And they get another kill. Damn, DDX is all of a sudden on a roll. I mean, at some point, we gotta blame Aether for this. With Itrax in game number 1, they're winning the map, and now all of a sudden, not only do they find themselves in the 3rd game, but they're also falling slowly behind. Either it was because the blue team needed a wake-up call, or Aether is not 100% just yet. Rides the angry cloud at the top. Can we do enough here? It must be so annoying being at the top lane right now and just having to deal with the Vikings, the continuous interrupts there, and then also Thrall jumping in. Here's level 10. Is he gonna try and go for Sundering? Yeah, not yet. Damn, Virgil is actually super low. For a second it looked like it might be a kill. Sylvanas was hoping that she can come in and drop him here, but yeah, there's Sundering. Virgil is low, and he's way too deep. I mean, dude, you gotta back off, or you're just gonna get murdered. So the shots are now fired, channels are happening, ult at the top, tons of damage on this bad boy. I mean, damn. With Sylvanas move, keep in mind, this happened without level 10, right? So now we have Hunt, no longboat by the way, so no bounty attempt from DDX, but that top lane bell tower is already converted. Down at the bottom of the map, the red team successfully defended. So play again from the Vikings, no bounty from DDX. They just want to win this one. And Rospiedol, they have Hunt now. So they actually went into a bounty attempt. Here comes the Riptire. Illidan says hello, jumps on Thrall, who's by the way not done with his quest yet. There's a hook, and Thrall goes down. Thrall is already gone. Bambi is trying to get some kills for the team, and there's the shish kebab from Imperius. It's kebab time. Comes in, gets the double stack, and then gets hooked and killed. Danusovsky makes it out. Oh boy. Imperius, you started off so well, and then you eat that hook. Job well done by Shizakid though. Misses the second one, but Junkrat dies regardless. Or does he? No way. No way. He's dead, right? Okay, thank you. That was scary for a second. But Lunara is also gone. So they got the kill, but they lose Lunara. In the middle, Illidan nearly died, but they're getting more damage in on the bell tower. So it's a 5 versus 3 bell tower situation. And Rospedol is actually looking pretty okay. They might lose a few more heroes in these fights, but when it comes to structural control, they're looking really good. They converted the bell tower at the top left, and then on top of that, we now have them also with damage in the middle, so they can start to fall back on that too. With Illidan pressuring it, Sylvanas pressuring it, so there's a lot of moves that they can make. The Altar channel, 1 for each team. In total, we have 27 points against 25. Just looking at the damage numbers, we have Junkrat on 20,000, we have Lunara on 20,000. Stitches finally has his hook extension on level 13. Blue team's a little bit faster, yeah, and there's the Gorge. Shizakid is dead. Yeah. Well, Sylvana's actually helping a lot by disabling the bell tower, but they're not out of the woods yet. Riptire comes in. Don't tell me they're turning this around. They're coming in! They want Danusovsky, and they get him! Thrall completes his quest, Imperius finally dies, gets crushed, Sundering goes nowhere, Illidan just jumping around like a bunny on LSD, and in comes Stukov with another lurking arm. They are doing their thing. Illidan, they will have to back off eventually, but at the end of the day, they're getting massive amounts of damage onto that bell tower, and they might even convert the entire thing over. They're going for Stitches, and they take him down too. In comes Illidan again, and bam, that's the bell tower gone. Thrall is getting pressured. Holy macaroni. Rospiedol with enormous amount of pressure now. Play after play by them. They lost the bell tower at the top to the Vikings, but they secured the one at the bottom of the map, which is arguably, obviously more important. Bot lane has way more mercenary camps traveling through it, so the more important lane for sure. Also because of this specific altar that is now spawning in 20 seconds. Very hard to access for the blue team unless they are retaking the bell tower, and I just don't see that happen in that time frame. It's not going to be a thing. So right now, Illidan is back to the top lane. Is going for the Vikings, and he is doing better here. So Ether is starting to run the show. And at the bottom of the map, blue team is pushing past the bell tower and goes for a kill on Junkrat that they easily grab, followed by Stukov. They just moved through the bell tower, didn't care, and just said like, yep, we're gonna take this. Sylvanas is taking the bell tower in the middle on the other hand, so that hurts. But all the 3 heroes that were down at the bottom of the map have now fallen. And they are going for all the bell towers. They want to start the barrage here. They want to start a barrage, and it's a little bit of a race. Blue team is trying to take the bell tower at the bottom of the map. They need to send Thrall back, or he dies. So he gets back out. 2 shots have been fired, and there's the barrage starting. They're going to at least fire 1 shot. Yep. So it's a 2-for-1 shot on bell tower shots, but yeah, they're even going for the boss now. This is level 16. We have 10 kills against 6, and the blue team is desperately trying to get bell towers back after they just lost way too much. Illidan and Sylvanas on the same lane is just crazy. And here's the shots fired. So while the blue team was able to get the altar, They lost way more points on their core, and it's now 21 to 23 points in favor of Rospierdoll. That being said, the blue team is taking back their bot lane. Now, red team could try and claim the bell tower at the bottom of the map as long as they have the upper hand here. Illidan, of course, still busy at the top lane. Bell tower is not really retaking it, top side. And Illidan also has the hunt, so if he wants to shift gears a little bit and come down to the bot map, he can, or in the middle, he can easily do that. And they are pushing the middle again. They already have this bad boy down to 50% of its HP once more. So that's not too bad. Short distance hook, Illidan could help out, and gets killed at the top by Bell Tower and Lunara. Yeah, nice. Big shove against Stitches, and they're getting Imperious out, and back in as they're trying to go for Thrall. Riptire, but another hook hits, and this time they're not gonna escape. Ronek falls. So the hooks that we're getting from Stitches are absolutely on point here. Shiza Kid is locking them in hard. 12 kills to 6 now, and a 1-level lead. It is a wild game. It's a very, very wild game now. Triple altar phase, and this is a problem for Rospierdoll. Triple altar phase, and they're missing 2 heroes. Well, just as they get Illidan back, they're now losing Imperious. So shots are getting fired all over the place, but the bell tower in the middle has also now been recaptured. If they could at least get 1 bell tower, they would have gotten so many shots in, but instead they're losing all 3 bell towers. But they're still in range. 16 to 21, that's something you can bridge. But imagine them just getting 1 out of the altars. Just 1 of them. They would have immediately fired 5 to 6 shots, depending on the timing. And it would have been a lot for them. But now, top lane, the bell tower is about to be claimed. And in the middle, Lunara is working on it too. So, this is getting a bit crazy. DDX is starting, I want to say they're stabilizing a bit. They're doing a much better job not falling too far behind in structures here. And they're winning pretty much every single team fight at this point. And these hooks are just too damn good. Fantastic hook again. Illidan gone. That's kill number 14. So yeah, they're losing a lot here. Kill after kill after kill against the red team. And that of course means that they find themselves at a numbers disadvantage pretty much continuously. And in addition to that, it's also just them just gaining more and more momentum. Now they are the ones, you know, taking bell towers at the bottom of the map. And with level 20 in their hands, they have a 2-level advantage over the opponent's team now. That can be tough to bridge. If you win a couple of team fights, then fantastic, you're going to get a lot of hero experience. I mean, just look at the difference here. They're doubling it. But it's going to be tricky against an opponent that already has a massive talent advantage over you. Minion experience, another thing where the Vikings are obviously excelling way higher for them. But time will tell how this one's going to play out here. For the blue team, everything is going well. They struggled a lot in the mid game. But now things are looking great. For the opponents though, they need to buy some time. Yep, there's the stun. Large and in charge stuns out the target. Stitches hits the hook. And then the root is there and Junkrat is gone. Perfectly teed up by Olaf. And then the kill. Now, 5 shots fired. They go for Stukov. Stukov is gone. So Junkrat is gone. Stukov is gone. It starts to become a total shit show here. DDX is absolutely crushing it now. Again, they had problems in the mid game, 100%. It didn't look good when they lost all of their bell towers. And for a moment, there was serious momentum behind Rospierdoll. But now they're just losing so much ground. And that flank is also going to obliterate them. That is Sylvanas gone. They go for Illidan. It's a desperate attempt of the red team to buy time, get experience, get to level 20. While they are hoping to not lose too much ground. But of course, they're losing a lot. And with Sylvanas eliminated, it leaves only 2 heroes on the red team side. And they won't be able to easily take a bell tower. So they're going to lose this one. If Sylvanas was still with them, they could use her at the bottom of the map to reclaim the bell tower here. But without her, it's going to be a bit tricky. Junkrat can maybe help out a little bit, but they need to get some of these heroes back into action. Junkrat is now here, Stukov is here. They're getting some damage done, but they need Sylvanas for this. And there's only one single bell tower that is still being held by Rospierdoll, the one in the middle. Double altar phase. Double altars, and as it stands right now, you channel both, and you win the game. from the perspective of the blue team. And there's Pumpkins, of course, marching through the bottom of the map as well. So they have the 5-man backup on the map. They're gonna get level 20. But this is essentially... if they win the next team fight, then great. The 3 shots are being fired. They're down to 8 points right now. They know that they have to win the fight one way or another. Sundering is out. Junkrat is junked pretty much immediately. Fight hasn't even started yet and he's already dead. And now Sylvanas is about to fall. Illidan got gorged and that is it. This is a triple. It's a quad kill. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to end this one easily. Nicely done. Well played. And, well-deserved victory from DDX as they send the red team packing into the loser's bracket and DDX moves on to the next winner bracket round. GG.